So from the 1950s and the 1960s, we saw an increase in the number of black children black migrants coming into the country. So they had children, and their children were going to school in the UK system. So there were two issues emerging from this. Firstly, the perceptions about how they would integrate into the education system, but also ideas about their academic abilities. So these were often perceived to be negative and perhaps rooted in ideas which came from the colonial era, whereby black people's intelligence were graded according to their race, and black people were seen to be at the bottom. So this shaped the way in which the teachers interacted with them and also perceived their academic outcomes and ideas about their behavior. So Heidi Safia Mirza, for example, she talks about the whole perceived ineducability of black children, and this is where these notions came from. Furthermore, there were issues about the way in which black families were perceived. So they were seen to have a pathological structure, more likely to be single-parented, and if they were single-parented, then the mother would be out working and they wouldn't be able to watch their children's behavior or their academic attainment. And unfortunately, a lot of research tends to sort of reinforce this idea. So it was very key in the 1970s and the 1980s, and we're still seeing this idea now. So in terms of my research, I was keen to challenge these ideas. And what I did was I used interviews. I did interviews with 25 British Ghanaians. So their parents came to the UK during the 1960s, 70s and 80s. And I did what I call life history interviews. So they were reflecting on their socialization experiences. So then I could get some insight into their family structures, the attitudes in which their parents had towards academic attainment, and how much this was based on their parents' own experiences of this and where their own socialization experiences in Ghana, and how they saw this as impacting on their own academic and socio-emotional outcomes as well. So I think the key thing here, as I say, is to challenge those ideas about the pathological black family, the negative under-attainment of black and minority ethnic children, and also the way in which we're homogenized within sociological research of educational attainment and professional development. I'd say another driving force behind my research was something that happened to me back in 1993 when I was 17 or 18. So I was a sixth former at the time, and I was doing my A-levels, and they weren't going particularly well. And I think this was partly because I needed to, it takes time to transition from A-levels to GCSE, from GCSEs to A-levels. And it was taking me longer, and I think the way in which we were being taught didn't necessarily help. But anyway, one morning, I was having a conversation with one of our tutors and with the careers people, and I was told to consider going to work, or to go and work in a factory, or if I really must do anything, a career, go in as a nurse, because it would do, and he rubbed the back of his hand just to show that he meant about me being black. And I was furious. I was really upset. And when I get upset, I tend to cry. I can't help it, but I cry. So anyway, I went home and I was really worried, because I thought, what's my dad going to say about this? Because is he going to think that I failed as well? But he was very, very sympathetic. I mean, he said, do you want to leave that school? And I said, yeah, I do, because I know that if I stay there, I definitely will fail my A-levels and I'll never get to university, and I really want to go. So the next week, my dad took me out of the school. He let me go to the college that he worked at, and I have to say that college did not have a very good reputation in Nottingham. I won't name it. But I went, but saying that, I did sociology and psychology there, and it was like night and day. My teachers were very different. They were very supportive. They were saying that you could get A and B grades in your A-levels, and my grades just shot up. I felt so much more confidence in myself, and that was just simply because of what my dad said, but also because they had the confidence in me, and I actually got what I was doing. The teaching was a whole lot better.